In the 2000s, Shonen Jump was dominated by Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece. However, there was another major title that has been forgotten to time, which is now gearing up for a major comeback. Yes, we're back again with another Katekyo Hitman Reborn update video. There has been some interesting developments about Reborn in the last few months, as it is becoming more and more likely that the Reborn anime will be returning either as a reboot or a continuation from the original series. So without further delay, let's dive into why Reborn is about to make a generational comeback. All of this hype surrounding Reborn kicked off when a new web domain related to the Reborn anime was registered by Pony Canyon. The domain is kh-reborn-anime.jp. Pony Canyon is a major player in anime production committees. While this isn't huge official confirmation that the anime is returning, it is still a significant step towards it. Ever since the Reborn anime ended in 2010 and the manga concluded in 2011, we have always had consistent Reborn merchandising. There were Reborn mobile games, promotional pushes across Japan and wider Asia, and these marketing pushes are usually done to gauge the demand for a dormant IP before reviving it. Unfortunately, the original animation studio Artland, which created the 2006 Reborn anime, went bankrupt and it was absorbed into Marvelous Entertainment. The reveal that Pony Canyon has registered a new web domain specifically for the Reborn anime suggests that a new production committee has been made, and you have to remember they don't create these web domains for IPs that they intend to do nothing with. Pony Canyon has a long history of financial backing and working on large-scale animation projects. Their involvement here seems to be serious, as they appear to be investing in a new Reborn anime rather than just new merch drops. The exact animation studio that is tied to this new production committee is yet to be revealed, and to be honest, a lot of this is educated guessing and how things have unfolded in the past for other IPs like Bleach, which had similar marketing pushes, domain name registrations, production committees being formed a while before an official anime return announcement. People are wondering if this new Reborn anime that seems to be early in development, is it going to be a reboot or a continuation of the old anime, which didn't adapt the final two arcs of the manga. Reborn does need a reboot in my opinion, but it needs to be done right, and not like that bad Shaman King reboot that we recently got. If they do a continuation, then there are concerns of how new audiences will hop on board to the series, since the original fans of the work haven't tuned in for like 15 years and they are grown adults now. So they need to strike a balance of bringing new and old fans into the anime. The domain registration, the sustained marketing push for the series, and the production committee appearing to be formed, everything does suggest that we're going to have a revival for the Reborn franchise. If you want to learn more about the specifics of the industry and why Hitman Reborn is highly likely to return, then check out James Hansen's recent video on Hitman Reborn. He does a great job of breaking down the behind the scenes of anime production in order to help you understand what's going on. And just as a side note, a leaker who has been right in the past has stated that there is a completely new TV anime series for Hitman Reborn that's currently in production, and it's to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the original anime series. And this leaker states that the new anime project is not a remake, instead it's a continuation of the old anime. So this is interesting. Again, I take this with a pinch of salt and I'd wait for an official confirmation. Now let's have a look at some of the recent marketing that Reborn has had over the last few years without it having an anime. There's been a PR Hitman Reborn Twitter page that was made in 2022. A lot of the marketing push for the series is done through this page, like this post here which talks about Hitman Reborn's presence at Jump Festa 2026, where there is various merchandise on display at the different booths. So there's an armband that people can get from the Marvelous booth, as well as a Flame of Resolve headband that people can get from the ADK booth. And what's interesting is that on the headband it says Katekyo Hitman Reborn the animation. Again, more hints pointing at the anime returning. There have been several Reborn pop-up stores where people can buy all sorts of merchandise from the series, and in addition to this, there was a Hitman Reborn art exhibition, which is really important to mention. You can see all of the different work that Akira Amano has done for the art exhibition here. The art exhibition mostly had shots of Katekyo Hitman Reborn with few mentions of it live, as well as Akira Amano's other work, Ron Kamanohashi. Also, her old iconic manga spreads that she had done for Reborn were on display too, like this one here from a 2008 issue of Weekly Shonen Jump. There were even manga panels of Reborn with the original artwork that she had drawn framed framed and on display. There were these cutouts too that people could take photos next to, and again, it just highlights how much effort was put into this art exhibition that happened in Japan. There was also a recent collaboration between Reborn and Gintama. These are some of the promotional posters that can be found in Jump stores in Japan. Then there's the announcement that Reborn will have some sort of a stage at Jump Festa, and it's linked to Shueisha Games. So voice actors from the Hitman Reborn anime will be appearing, and apparently it's for the manga board game called Hitman Reborn: The 100 Dilemmas. So voice actors from the Hitman Reborn anime will be playing the board game on stage. So present will be Reborn's voice actor as well as Suna's, and yeah, you can see a bit of the marketing push that's already starting with the presence of Reborn at Jump Festa 2026. And there's something pretty big for next year, is that an Ichiban Kuji for Katekyo Hitman Reborn has been announced. Now this is where people in Japan can go to convenience stores and pick out random raffle tickets, and depending on what letter they get, they receive one of these prizes that you can see on screen. So yeah, you've got Suna, Yamamoto, Kokudera, Hibari, as well as Mukuro Rokudo. There is so much constant marketing being done with Hitman Reborn, and here are some of the marketing pushes that they have done in the last few years, which again builds upon that case that Reborn is planning for a major return and the anime will be announced to return soon.
Reborn was popular enough to have its own stage play, and as recent as this year we've had new merchandise pop up. Back when it was being serialized, Hitman Reborn would regularly be featured in the top 5 series rankings within Shonen Jump, so it should be no surprise that Reborn is a well-respected classic shonen from the mid-2000s, despite it not having that much of a presence within the Western world. Fans of Reborn will know that Viz Media had cancelled its run of the English translation of the manga, after only releasing 16 volumes out of 42. Even to this day, there are fans who want Viz Media to translate the rest of the Reborn volumes. Now, the original Hitman Reborn anime was released in 2006, the same year that other memorable titles like Code Geass, Gintama, and Death Note were released. And like I said, while it may not have been that popular in the West, it was incredibly popular in Japan. The anime adaptation of Katekyo Hitman Reborn had ended on the 25th of September 2010, while the story had continued within the manga and had eventually ended serialization on the 12th of November 2012. As of making this video, Reborn is 18 years old, and I feel like it's found itself in a similar situation to what Bleach was in 2018. Back then, a lot of people were doubting whether if Bleach was going to return, but as I have mentioned, there appears to be a trend of returning to classic titles. Now, similar to Bleach, Hitman Reborn had ended without adapting the entirety of the manga. We know that the Ceremony arc and the Curse of the Rainbow arc have yet to be adapted into an anime. Now, there's been a lot of speculation as to why the last 2 story arcs of Hitman Reborn have not been animated for so long. Some assume that the anime was cancelled abruptly because the studio behind the series, Studio Artland, had gone under. Now, while the manga had an official ending, very little is known about why the Reborn anime had ended in September of 2010, and this is a topic that I will be coming back to later on in this video. Now, I'm probably going to sound like a conspiracy theorist for the rest of this video, but here are my research points as to why I believe that Reborn is being revived. After years of hearing nothing about the series, Reborn had got its first push starting with its 10th anniversary celebration back in 2016 and 2017. The series had started to get several pop-up stores which sold merchandise and featured collaborations with other brands, and this was also the same year that the Blu-ray of the anime was being released. This physical home media release was very successful, as it had been ranked number 12 in Japan's animation Blu-ray disc rankings back in April of 2017. The entire Reborn series was also released in North America by Discotek Media in 2018, and speaking of 2018, the anime had got its first live stage play as well. During this stage play, the original voice actor for Reborn had reprised their role. The stage play was produced by Marvelous, Pony Canyon, and D-Rights, and they'd started with their first stage performance, which had adapted the Daily Life arc and the Kokyo arc from 2018. Following up from this, the Varai arc was performed in 2019 and 2020, and they even had a stage performance for the 2 stories from the Hitman Reborn Secret Bullet light novels in the same year. In 2021, the Reborn stage play had their final performance where they adapted the Future arc. They had concluded the Reborn series in a very similar manner to how the anime had ended. These stage performances were so well received that they even had their own Blu-ray releases. With the release of the Blu-rays and these stage plays, you could see that Reborn was having somewhat of a resurgence, even if it was exclusive to Japan. Now, earlier on, I had mentioned that when the manga was being serialized, it was often ranked quite high in the Shonen Jump rankings, and you'll be surprised to learn that even in the modern day, Reborn still ranks highly on popularity lists. 2 years ago, on the 11th of April 2020, a post about the top 50 manga was posted on Twitter, and the post post had gone on to reveal the popular trends amongst Japanese audiences when they were asked about their top 5 favorite manga series. There were over 620 participants who were questioned between 21st of March to the 2nd of April, and through this questionnaire survey they were able to create a top 50 manga list. Series like One Piece, Hunter x Hunter and Slam Dunk were featured within the top 10 list, but the real surprise is that the position of number 9 was taken by Katekyo Hitman Reborn. This proves that even 10 years after the conclusion of the anime, Reborn is still fairly popular and well remembered. Again, all of this information was limited to Japanese audiences. Now, while this survey was conducted 2 years ago, but you'll be surprised to learn that this wasn't the last time that Reborn had made it onto a top shonen manga list. As recently as the 6th of January of this year, Hitman Reborn had made it onto the top weekly Shonen Jump circulation numbers of all time. It had ranked number 30 among 119 series, with over 30 million copies in circulation. Now, if you think that being ranked number 30 is quite low, then just know that it was ranked on the same level as Death Note. Again, from these rankings from 2020 and 2022, it is evident that Reborn is successful in terms of its sales, and it's well remembered by a lot of fans. It is among several manga titles that are still talked about by Japanese fans to this day, and it finds itself amongst other series like Shaman King and Rurouni Kenshin, which have recently been announced to have their own reboots. Now, these are not rankings conducted by My Anime List, these are proper questionnaires and surveys that were handed out to people. With all of this information, it should prove that Reborn isn't entirely as dead as people try to make it out to be in the West. Another aspect that Reborn is very successful in is that it has the largest number of cosplayers for any particular series within Japan. While this news is from 2008, it proves that at the height of Reborn's popularity, it had a massive audience. And of course, now that all of these fans have grown up, they will have a lot of nostalgia for this series. And this is something that Japanese animation studios are realizing more and more often now. And I think this had started back in 2008 with the release of Dragon Ball Kai. They had done this to appeal to fans who had nostalgia for the original Dragon Ball series, as well as introducing Dragon Ball to a whole new generation. And I feel like this is what's being planned with Hitman Reborn in the not too distant future. Now, while we are speaking about the Japanese fandom, let's talk about how Reborn has been trending several times on Japanese Twitter. The term #Vongola rings was a regular trend within 2020, with fans showing off their collections of Vongola rings that they had bought. The trend had gotten so popular that even the series author Akira Amano had commented upon it. In a Twitter post, she states that she had been wondering what had happened since Vongola rings was trending, considering that she was the author of the series, and she is in control of all of the merchandise for the series. She comments upon how it's been 8 years since the manga had ended and 10 years since the anime had ended, but even after all of this time, she is pleased to see that it's still loved, and she looks forward to creating more works for her fans. And there are several other tweets from the voice actors of Reborn who had also commented upon this trend. Aside from this Vongola rings trend, the series itself has trended on Twitter several times thanks to Japanese fans, and the most recent occasion was when it started trending on the 18th of December 2021. Now, if you recall, the 18th of December 2021 was the day that the Bleach anime had its super stage at Jump Festa 2022, and we finally got a preview trailer for the upcoming anime that's going to release this year in October. Several voice actors for the Reborn series had made comments about it trending, as they had been sharing their wishes for the anime to also return. Now, recently Reborn has had a lot of merchandise releases and event promotions. There's been everything from digital ebooks being sold to collaborations with cafes that are celebrating the 15th anniversary of Reborn, and even a mobile game of the series being released that's officially licensed by the author Akira Amano. Now, there's a company in Japan called Sanrio Characters, and they're famous for being responsible for the creation of Hello Kitty and for the designs featured in the Netflix series Agretsuko. Now, Sanrio Characters have collabed with big brands in the past like Mobile Suit Gundam and Sailor Moon, but as of recently they are going to be collaborating with Hitman Reborn. Now, this proves that Reborn is not as small of a franchise as people make it out to be, since it's collaborating with the very company that had collaborated with huge brands like Gundam and Sailor Moon. Now, in addition to everything that I've mentioned, there's been a recent creation of a Twitter account which was created to promote Katekyo Hitman Reborn. Now, while a lot of people may assume that this is solely to promote merchandise, but I believe that the promotion of all of this merchandise is a precursor to the eventual return of the anime, but they have to still prove whether if it is viable to invest within a new anime series of Reborn through selling new merchandise, featuring the series in collaborations, and making events surrounding Reborn. This not only ensures that the series stays relevant, but it also plays upon the nostalgia of fans who have now grown up and have their own money to spend on the series. So if there's enough demand and people buy enough merchandise and support the series, then I'm pretty confident that Reborn will be returning for a new anime series. And if you are following the events leading up to the announcement of the Bleach anime, then you'll know that there was a similar merchandise push prior to the Bleach anime returning. We had the entire I'm Still Bleach campaign, which was wildly successful. Now, before I wrap up the video with my final thoughts, there's something that I want to briefly mention about the anime. We spoke about how Hitman Reborn's anime adaptation had ended on the 25th of September 2010, without adapting the final 2 arcs of the manga. This had led a lot of people to assume that the Reborn anime was cancelled due to a lack of popularity. The 30th volume of Reborn features the start of a new arc, the Inheritance Ceremony arc. It follows the events after the anime's conclusion. This volume was released on the 8th of August 2010, while the anime had ended on the 25th of September 2010. Due to how close these 2 dates are, it is evident that the anime was catching up to the manga. This point is further proven when you realize that the anime adaptation of the Future arc was interrupted by 2 anime exclusive story arcs, which were the Arcobaleno Trials arc and the Primo Family arc. If you've been on this channel long enough, then you know that filler can only mean one thing: that the animation studio desperately needs to create buffer space between the anime and manga. After the end of the Reborn anime, Studio Outland had gotten busy with a lot of other projects, so it may have been that they had wanted to return to Reborn but just could not fit it into their schedule. So much time has passed, and in 2022 it shouldn't really matter whether if the anime was cancelled or not, because the studio behind the series, Studio Outland, had unfortunately filed for bankruptcy in 2017. Now, with the animation studio out of business, the licensing rights for the Reborn anime are currently up in the air. Who knows whether if an animation studio has come to approach Shueisha in order to reboot the series or to do a continuation of it. Both of these options are pretty likely, especially after discussing how the series is being pushed with its merchandise and how there's been a recent resurgence in the series' popularity. Now, while in this video I've tried to speak about the popularity of Reborn, I've unfortunately had to do it through the lens of Japanese audiences. But hopefully through this video you've realized that Reborn is still a massive property. It's had several notable achievements, and it has a solid fanbase that supports its characters and story even to this day, with the series author Akira Amano even creating regular illustrations of Reborn characters for wallpaper calendars that users can have on their phones. Now, while the series author has moved on with a new manga series, there is no doubt that she is aware of the popularity of the series that she had created all those years ago. At the end of the day, creating anime is a money-making business. It has to make financial sense, otherwise a production committee would not come together in order to invest in a new series. So I really think that the Reborn committee is currently testing the waters, with the recent stage plays, merchandise releases, and several Reborn collaborations that have occurred with notable brands.
So yeah, this is pretty much everything that I have on Katekyo Hitman Reborn and the state of the series in 2025 as we go on to next year. There are huge signs that the series is planning to return in a major way. Pony Canyon registering that new domain, all of the marketing push that we're seeing for the series, leakers suggesting that a new Reborn anime is already in production. But yeah, we're gonna have to wait for official confirmation. All of the signs are pointing to a major revival for the Katekyo Hitman Reborn series. If there's anything that I've forgotten to mention, then let me know by continuing the discussion in the comments. And lastly, thanks for making it to the end of this video, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one.
A massive thank you goes out to all of my amazing Patreon supporters for helping to make this video possible. If you also want to support the channel and see your name in the end of my videos, then check out my Patreon, which has loads of perks like early video access and so much more.
Thank you for sticking around till the end of the video, and whatever you contribute will mean a lot to me.